What's up, everybody? It's Omega from Omega's Gaming. Back at it again with another ESO video. And holy shit, this is a mic. I'm not sure if you guys can actually fucking hear me now, but this mic is pretty fucking legit. So I'm excited about that. Today we're going to go over some more Templar. I've been working on a little kind of glass cannon Templar setup. It actually does have some sustain, but it's really trying to pump out the damage for the most part. I have been able to get 10k jabs. That is right, 10k jabs in PvP on someone who has 22,000 spell resistance. So if they are in all light armor, you're looking at a 12k, possibly more jab with this setup. And it's pretty ridiculous. The setup I'm going to show you now is something I'm working on. It's not completely finished, but it's amazing so far. It's the best damage wise. It's not super tanky, but you are dropping people left and right. So let's go ahead and look at what we're doing. On our back bar, we're running 5 pieces of the Lich. This is where all our sustain is going to come from. If you notice, we don't really have high magic recovery, but when we pop to the Lich, it's going to give us another 1,000, so it's going to put us over 2k, and that's going to be plenty with heavy attacks. Like I said, this isn't all about the regen. This is focusing more on damage. So we're going to have a infused chest, and we're going to have a Divine's Waist. And we're going to have 2 rings. Now, I've been trying to get the necklace, which is what I would do is these 3 and then an infused chest. But I have literally farmed this necklace for a month and cannot get a drop on this Lich necklace. It's fucking impossible. It's driving me crazy if you can't tell. So it would be 3 here and 1, but we're kind of going around it so that we can get it done. So 5 on the Lich, and then our front bar is going to be Julianos. Now, you get a lot of damage out of this, especially once these are gold. I have the gold Torag's pack swords. It's 1553 and a 1335 with the sharpened. So I'm missing about 400 or more spell damage with this setup versus what I was running before. But this is still hitting almost just as hard, and I only have purple, so it's going to make a huge difference. On our back bar, we're running Drain Magicka Poisons. That's going to help with our sustain as well, and it's going to make it more expensive for everyone else, and everyone uses some sort of magic in their build. And on our front bar, we're going to be using the Gold Coast Feebling Poisons, and it does Minor Maim and Minor Defile, so they do less damage and less healing. So this is going to help with like Templars and DKs that do their burst healing and things like that. So both of these are really punishing. Now the headpiece that we're wearing, I want a heavy infused slime crawl mask. I'm working on getting that right now to finish this up. This is like severely buffed because that spell critical and weapon critical is fantastic. Especially for a Templar, because we don't have access to Minor Berserk. So this is going to make a huge difference on your damage. It doesn't show, your spell damage go up, but your tooltip for your jabs is going to be really high. So we're in the 2-piece medium divines. I want a heavy infused, so I'm working on the heavy infused here, and then the ring, and then golding this out. And my Julianos is all gold, and I'm missing just this 1 gold piece of the Lich, and I would be golden. And I'll eventually gold this out, to get that. I think it gives you like 1k spell. So let me go buff up on something small. Let's just kill these guys real quick. Okay, so our stats, we have 2881 spell damage. Our critical is 53%, which is really good. We have 8k spell pen, which is plenty. Last patch was about 10, but it is what it is. Still really good. It'll go up to like 8,500 with the weapon gold. Max Magicka is 38. If you put on Meteor, you can get that to like right at 40 if you want, but I've been using a different ultimate, which I will show, and it's been working out really well. Now, here's where people are going to start complaining a little bit. I am running the Shadow Mundus Stone. I know. Everyone has a lot of crit resist, but when you crit on this, you got to remember the Templar gets 10%, okay, of crit damage just for being a Templar. Okay, I have 10% in here and then 11. So that's 31% increase on my crits, and I crit half of the time. Okay, you hit really, really hard. Trust me, people are gonna, I've gotten messages where people are like, what in the hell just happened? Because when I've done my combo, it's just an instant kill. I don't even need the beam of death. You just do too much damage. It's ridiculous. So, food-wise, I'm just doing the Health and Max Magicka. You could run the Potent Witch Mother, but honestly, you don't need it. I mean, it's going to bring up to like 14, but you're going to drop quite a bit here and lose damage. With Lich, I mean, you're pretty much fine. And on my Lich, I have an infused. If you take the poisons off, I do have an enchantment on there that regens Magicka, but you have this Magicka regen here while you're heavy attacking and light attacking, and it just works out. Trust me, it's a weird setup, but when you do it, you're gonna be like, holy shit, this guy is a fucking genius. So let's get into our skills. On our main attack bar, we're running Purifying Light. This is kind of a flex spot, though I really do like it, just for that extra little pop. Since you're doing such high damage, I only recommend this when you're running a high damage build, because it does store up a little bit, but it doesn't explode like crazy. But I've had this hit for about 7,000, so it's a nice little smack out of nowhere because I'm hitting so hard. Toppling Charge, this is, you know, your gap closer, and you're going to knock them off to where you can just start smacking them with your jabs. Jabs are 1363, fully buffed. I think they're like almost 1,500. Yeah, 1493. Once I put the gold on and switch the stuff around, it'll go up to like 16 or 1,700 damage. And I think the highest I've gotten it so far is like 1,900 in the tooltip. But you literally have no sustain, and you jab 4 times and you're done. So if they can survive those 4 jabs, you're not going to be able to do anything. We have Inner Light, so we have our crit up and our max magic for our damage. Obviously, the Jesus Beam of Doom. And this is the ultimate that I've been running. I know it doesn't hit super hard, but it does reduce the damage dealt to me by 15% for 10 seconds, and it's not minor maim that it puts on you. So when you are light attacking and you're putting that minor maim, this is a whole different thing that it's doing. It doesn't say that it does minor maim. It's different. So you're going to have the 15% here, and then when you pop this ultimate, it's going to be another 15%. So they're doing 30% less damage. So it's almost like you're wearing Pirate Skeleton. And with it being 72 ultimate, it is not expensive to get whatsoever. It fucking comes up all the time. On our back bar, Ritual Retribution, just for a little bit of damage. But whenever you put this down, you get the extra healing, like the 25% extra healing for a couple seconds. So I kind of just stand and fight inside of this, and it does that little bit of damage. It's not bad, but I'll fight inside of it. This back bar, besides these last 3 or 4, these 2 are really flexible. I mean, if you don't like this, I do run Rune Focus from time to time, where you can do the one where you take 8% less damage if you want to be more tanky, or if you're having sustain issues, you can put the one where you gain more magic. It ticks magic every second, so it kind of gives you 200 or 300 more magic regen, if you want to do it that way. With this back bar, I always like to try to have an attack on my back bar, so if I'm not using Harness also helps you with your sustain on this build. So it's, you know, you're going to restore 1,000 magicka pretty much every time you're hit. So it's you're going to get a decent amount of magic back on this. Like I said, we're not focusing on the magic, but there's a lot of magic regen in the background versus like we're really trying to go for damage. Healing ward, I always run healing ward. This will save you. You're actually super tanky just by using healing ward. If you're spamming it at low health, you just click the shit out of that button. You'll be all right. Vampire's Bane, it's a huge dot. Gives us our spell critical on this back bar, which helps out. It's just, I mean, this thing ticks for like 7. It'll end up being like 7k by the time it's done going off. I mean, it's big. Structured Entropy. I structured Entropy into my Vampire's Bane just to buff it up, of course. And then we're using Life Giver, which is the most broken ultimate in the entire game. It casts a regen, Blessing of Protection, Steadfast Ward. So this is basically your tankiness right here. It's 96 ultimate. I mean, both of these are going to be up constantly. So if you're fighting 1, maybe 2 people, I'll smack this. And then you get 4% additional defense for the 2 people. But if it's like, if I'm getting like jumped on and I notice I'm taking a lot of damage, I'll just pop this and you're not going to die. And with my stuff not even being gold, I'm getting some really, really good hits out of this. Let's see if I can. This bear's not gonna last very long. So I'm critting for 6348. Puncturing sweeps to 22k. So on average, when you depending on gear and impen and blah 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 blah, that's about an 11k. Puncturing sweep. So you can say if they're buffed up and things like that, you're at least going to hit 8k. And I'm still not golded out yet. And I'm also missing my heavy piece. So I'm missing about 2 to 3,000 max magicka and about 400 spell damage. So this would probably be like a 27, 28k puncturing sweep. And it crits 84% of the time. Like, it's ridiculous. 84% of it critted. So it's huge. I mean, just that amount of time, like that did 10k, you know what I mean? So that's about 5k in PvP, minus blah, blah, blah. So I definitely recommend that you check this out. Go over the CP real quick. I think CP is really important on here. Like I said, we want to get these hard crits in, and they do work in PvP. You'd be surprised. So 10% here, 56 because we do magic damage, so I toss them into here. Spell pen, because we lost a lot of it, so I'm going to get that 1,700 back. So it kind of evens out when you're wearing 1, so you can kind of fix it this way. 51 into Shattering Blows. Sorcerers and shield stackers are a pain in the ass, especially when you are running a crit build like I am. I mean, it's not 100% a crit build, but when you can crit as hard as I can and you can't crit on shields, it really screws you. So I put the 19% in here, which almost makes it like I'm critting on the shields. I do 19% more damage, so it's really going to buff that up. So I melt shields. I mean, I don't have a problem with shields. When I put a dot on and they're standing in my shit, I start smacking them. Shields go away super fast. I have nothing into Master at Arms, because when I moved all of my Master at Arms into Thaumaturge, jabs is 100% gets more buff from Thaumaturge than anything. Like, you could even take some out of here and put it into Thaumaturge, and it's going to do you better. But I have this for the Vampire's Bane, and if I want a Dark Flare, different things like that. This is really going to buff your Dark Flare, but I don't always use it. So I'm trying to get crazy jabs. Ironclad, because there's a lot of direct damage in the game, so obviously. Nothing into resistances. I'm not too worried about my crit resist. A little bit less damage from dots, but I can cleanse them. But it's still nice to have that. 10% on both of these, and then 72 to get the 23% boost on my shields. The lighter heavy attacks reduce their stam magic recovery by about 8%. It's not a ton, but if they're not really good at managing their resources and you start attacking their resources, like my poisons make everything 30% more expensive, and then there's this 8% regen reduction, so it's going to add up. 51 into Warlord to break free, because CC is how most of the time you're going to die. Magic recovery by 10%. 10% more magic and stamina for my fully charged heavy attacks. because there are going to be times where you might have to heavy attack if you're fighting quite a bit of people, because like I said, damage is our primary thing here. We want to just destroy people. And then dodge rolling, because I will dodge roll crystal frags and things like that. If I have the stamina, I don't like to just sit there and block any projectiles that I could possibly dodge. So taking a look at this, hopefully you guys enjoy it. Like I said, I'm missing about 2 to 3k magicka and about 400 spell damage. So when it comes down to it, I honestly think with the decent amount of regen that you get, let me waste my magic real quick and see. We'll see. Get a good exact number of where this regen goes. All right, so we'll pop that. Pop a potion. 2696 regen, and then I'm an Argonian, so when I pop a potion, I get everything back. So I mean, look, I was at nothing, and now I'm at 29, and I haven't even tried to do a heavy attack. I mean, you do one heavy attack while that's up, and you're gonna go right to 100, like no problem. So when it's time, when Lich comes to save you, it's definitely worth it. I think this is going to be the best all-around build for the Magicka Templar. Really strong damage, and like you see, it has really decent regen when it's needed, especially if you're an Argonian, because of the buffs that you get. Now, if you are a Breton or a High Elf, you're probably going to get more overall damage and maybe a little bit more standard regen, but I think that having at least 40k max magicka, which I will have more than that once I get the heavy helm that I need in infused, I'll have way more than 40. I'll probably have 41 or 42, so that's plenty in my book. And then being able to pop the potions, I think that actually outweighs the 10% that you get being a high elf. So I think all around, being an Argonian with this setup and getting gold what needs to be gold, this is going to be my go-to setup for open world PvP and duels. I've actually done some dueling in this, and because of how hard it hits and the control that I have, it's my number one go-to for everything. So I recommend everybody tries this out. I've been playing with this a lot recently. I'm going to be doing a lot more Templar builds. It seems everybody's really into how I run my Templars. But hopefully you guys like it. Leave a comment and subscribe. And if you have any ideas for videos that you'd like to see or things you'd like to see me do, I'm always up for new ideas and you know, pleasing the peeps. So, all right, everybody have a good day. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Peace out.